Why the name? Well, because I saw a lot of different ways to connect people. Initially, Touch Cleveland started to really help startups and connect startups to resources. And I was looking for a way to basically say collaboration and came up with Touch. Well, I got the idea for Touch because, again, initially I wanted to help startups. I saw a lot of different ways that, they needed access to these resources, but not just access, people to actually help guide them. And I also saw a disconnect between some of the larger organizations that were doing the same thing. I really began to get the idea when working for other small businesses, but not your typical small business owners, such as the real estate agents, the insurance agents, and the law professionals. I tell people all the time, I didn't really leap or just have a plan to start my business. I kind of fell into it. After graduating college, I wasn't finding what I was looking for. I was adamant about being in a marketing, communication, or public relations position, refused to take customer service or anything else, and wasn't finding what I was looking for. A mentor actually suggested that I shorten my name from Chardonnay to Char, and it worked. I landed my dream job. That job turned out to be a complete nightmare. I was let go at day 56 with no real explanation, no reason as to why I was let go that made sense. And I just remember feeling very, very lost. I had no clue what to do after that. Here it was since my sophomore year of college, I had prepared to land a job in a marketing agency, a role I wanted to, and got there, and the culture, it was absolutely nothing like what I expected. So after that, though, I went back to Chardonnay on my resume, and I decided I wasn't gonna be anything less than Chardonnay from that point on. Left me very broke and unemployed, though. So I started freelancing, and now I look up and it's year 5. Oh man, really just being clueless and not quite having the support. The first couple years, my family was like, just go get a job. Why don't you just get a job, pushing me towards customer service? A lot of things didn't want, and it was not very easy for them to understand why I would rather be broke and freelance and Uber or do other strange things, just to get by instead of just going and taking a job wherever else. So the first couple years, not only was it very lonely because I was doing something completely outside of the norm, it was very challenging because you don't know what you don't know, and you're protective of your idea, and many people are even doubtful. And so it's definitely a walk of faith like none other. I mean, throughout these years, every single person has played a part in really shaping Touch Cleveland. So it's hard to say what was really that big break. I can remember when I had only was only freelancing and hadn't even filed the LLC yet, and had made some money but hadn't actually had my first client. So I remember it was Floyd Phillips that actually wrote the first check to Touch Cleveland. I wasn't getting checks to Chardonnay Graham anymore, and it was only a $200 check, but I'll never forget him. And so that was a milestone. I'll never forget being at New York Life Insurance and starting to take on agents independently. So I was already running a center from about 9 to 2, and then I start having all of these clients outside of that were paying me to do different things, whether it be their social media or their newsletters. And I really felt like I was starting to come into what Touch Cleveland was about then. Things were starting to shape. Another big break was Mansfield Frazier grabbing me for Chateau Huff. And I did a lot of work pro bono starting out with them. I mean, you know, initially it was just like, hey, come help me do this. And it's like, hey, I'm Chardonnay. Why not Chardonnay market and sell wine, right? And it was definitely him that introduced me to a lot of people. Brad Whitehead, who later connected me to the Cleveland Rowing Foundation and Fund for Our Economic Future, who's still now a client. So there's been so many milestones here that I can't really attribute one to a big break. Destination Cleveland though, oh man, like starting there in year 3 is, I will say, like, yeah, it's been on the up and up since then. It's very interesting being an entrepreneur, an African-American woman, young, the whole nine, you know, although I'm now in a situation where technically I'm as independent as I could possibly be. It's funny how you still have to prove yourself sometimes above and beyond what you feel like the norm is. Sometimes it's really challenging, again, on just how much you're doubted, how people expect you to fail, how people don't expect you to be about your business, how and then just even general, when you go to being a woman, just how sometimes you know, men are not necessarily listening to what you're saying, you know, when you come with a pretty face and a smile or anything like that. So it's very challenging, but I also think that, you know, as an African-American woman, it's even more essential to put myself in a position to be as independent as possible for the sake of being able to create and leave legacies that, you know, my grandparents, my parents, you know, haven't necessarily been able to achieve. So I can remember at what was my dream job, one thing I learned about being in a marketing agency is it's very cutthroat. The way it's structured, the billable hours, the account setups, it's just, it's not a teamwork environment. And it seems to be the way that every agency tries to market itself. You go in these agencies, they have slides, they have these playrooms, but the camaraderie is not how they usually portray it to be. So what makes Touch different is, you know, I wanted to create more of a firm, not an agency, where it's very collaborative, it's very structured around teamwork. It's very much about we're in this together. And that's also why I created, you know, 2 different sides to Touch Cleveland, you know, a way for me to help the startups as well as service the businesses that support them. This allows, you know, 2 streams of income into the business where now I'm not, you know, concerned about billable hours, and I don't necessarily have to have my account executives competing against each other just for the sake of staying on board. I think, honestly, the part that makes it the most exciting is having the confidence now. I mean, the first 5 years is like such a roller coaster. You don't know what you're doing. And I'll admit, I still don't know what I'm doing in a lot of ways. But, you know, I've proven to myself that with a vision and with a plan and with, you know, constant grit and, you know, hard work and keeping your work ethic and your integrity high, like I've learned and seen how that can pay off now. And so, if anything, it just motivates me to do it even more. It just motivates me to continue to have that faith and to bet on myself. And, you know, I mean, you reach 5 years, you feel like you could take on the world now. So, you know, I'm ready to take on the world, not just Cleveland. This year, you should look out for our new series that is going to be coming on social media. We are starting to film Unspoken, our community and business conversations. This is a way for Touch Cleveland to help get out some of the information that we're learning from our clients, some of the activities, some of the things that's going on. We want to bring a way to bring all of that to our audiences. You should also look out for our marketing collaboration to start to launch, where we will be enrolling startups so that we can help more startups and coach them on how to get their business to the next level as well. To all my past, present, and future clients, I thank you all so much. This has been a wonderful ride. I'm looking so forward to everything in 2020 and the future.